Hello and welcome to this week's episode of The Exercise Engineer. This week I'm going to be talking to you guys about Christmas. Yes, as we approach Christmas quite quickly now, I get asked more and more how I track Christmas, how I approach it in terms of fat loss, etc, etc. So I'm going to give you all of my tips for all of that. But firstly, I would just like to say I do not track calories at Christmas. Christmas is for living, loving, relaxing, spending time with your family, getting drunk if you want, eating all the food that you want. That's what it's there for, okay? So no, I do not track. However, if you do enjoy sticking to a plan, you might think that it helps you relax more, knowing that you're not overeating, that you're not getting rid of all your hard work from this year. If you enjoy exercising, all of those things, these are my top tips for staying on track over Christmas. Not necessarily to lose weight, but just to make sure we're not putting excessive amounts of weight on. Okay, so number one, this one might seem really obvious, but stay active. Move your body frequently, like always offer to get up to get the next round of drinks or sit the furthest away from the biscuit tin. So whenever you've got to get up, you want a biscuit, you've got to get up and go get it yourself. Instead of just relying on other people passing you things, always be the one to get up and be more active, just in general. Use the extra calories, if you will, to move more. Use the energy, not just like as punishment, but you might as well move more. Especially a lot of us have a bit more time around Christmas if we've got more days off. Go for nice walks. Keep moving, stay active. Like go for a walk, find some lunch, walk to and from the pub instead of just staying in, or even just like a brisk evening walk before your hot din-dins. Like there's lots of very easy ways to ensure that you're still getting your steps in. Even if you've taken your watch off, it's still classed as the holidays. You don't want to necessarily track everything. Just make sure you are staying generally active and moving your body whenever you can. And that is just one of the best, easiest ways to make sure that, yes, we're not just couch potatoes that are just going to put on half a stone in 10 days. One of the best ways and easiest ways to make sure you get all of the steps or whatever, or staying active, is a good morning routine. So still get up at the same time every day. Like get out, get a walking, do your workout first thing in the morning, get out, go for a run. Get it out the way, and that way you will leave space in the evening to do your events or go socialise or watch that Christmas film or cook a nice meal or do your evening brisk walk. Like fit as much exercise and stuff into your morning routine as you can, because not only will it make you feel amazing for the day anyway, and I promote that all year round, but at least you won't be thinking about it all day thinking, should I do a workout? I should have definitely done that by now. Whereas if you get it done first thing in the morning, you will feel epic for the day. Then you can go out, you can relax into the day, enjoy Christmas a bit more, enjoy time spent with friends and family, and you'll just have a better time off if you stick to a good, not necessarily a really strict morning routine, but just prioritising getting fresh air in the morning, getting daylight as soon as you can. All of those things will make you feel pretty epic. Another thing I just wanted to mention is just because it's Christmas does not mean that we need to eat until we feel sick. Like, I know it's easily done. We all do it at Christmas. A lot of us will sit there feeling absolutely stuffed and then still manage to eat more. Or like an hour or two later, the biscuits will come out. Or those caramelized peanuts or whatever. Oh my god, cashews. Oh my god, they're just amazing. I only eat salted cashews. I only tried those for the first time last Christmas, and it's honestly a game changer. It's quite worrying. I had to move myself away from the pot because they were just so good. But just because everyone else is eating excessively at Christmas does not mean that you have to. If you don't want to, do not feel pressured by other people if they're like, oh, go on, it's Christmas. If you don't want to do it, remember that you don't have to. I know that seems obvious to say out loud or obvious to hear. But you really don't have to give in to the social norm of Christmas that you need to drink until you're on the floor or eat until you're rolling home. Like, just because everyone else is does not mean you have to. And remember that the law of diminishing returns, I've talked about this a few times before, but it gets to a certain point where you can eat something and you have got the maximum amount of enjoyment out of that, and it's only going to come down. So maybe the biscuits or Christmas cake or something like that, the first few bites are going to be where you get the most enjoyment out of it. So don't feel like you need to finish everything, every portion. And I know that's easier said than done because I am someone who doesn't like waste, but just portion up little bits, eat that, and then if you're satisfied, that's fine. You can always go back for more later, but remember the first bite will always be the best bite. And if you keep on eating, that's absolutely fine. The last bite will still taste good, but you won't get as much enjoyment out of it as your first few bites. So just always remember that, like, you've got most of the enjoyment out of that item of food already. And I just wanted to say, like, never feel pressured into overeating. I know I just mentioned it then, but if you want, like, it's Christmas, if you want to overeat, absolutely fine still. Like, this isn't me, like, giving you permission to overeat. It's bloody Christmas. Do what you want. But never feel pressured to if you don't want to. Like, you can still eat the whole box of chocolates if you want to, but if you want to make them last and enjoy them tomorrow as well, maybe only have a quarter of the box. Then you can have another few tomorrow and then another few after. So again, that's law of diminishing returns. The more you, like, if you spread it out, you're going to get much more enjoyment out of it because you get that first bite multiple times. Whereas if you eat them all in one go, you only get the maximum enjoyment once. Spread it out. Definitely one of my favourite top tips. And then that way you'll avoid feeling sick. Like, we've all been there where you just keep eating chocolate and yeah, you do end up feeling sick. But it is much more enjoyable if you spread out the treats and if you choose the treats you want to eat. So yes, at Christmas, there is an abundance of treats. There's cheese and crackers, you've got Christmas cake, you've got Christmas pudding, you've got gingerbread men. This is gonna, like, people are gonna be like, what the hell? What sort of Christmas do you have? We don't even have gingerbread men. I don't even know why I said that. What else do we have in the house? Excessive amounts of chocolate. I've already said cheese. Just everything. I don't know why my mind just went blank then. Lindors galore in our house. They're everywhere. So instead of feeling like you need to say yes to all the treats whenever they all come out and it all gets dished around, instead of saying yes to all of them, you'll actually enjoy it more if you get to choose which treats you want and saying yes and no to certain things. So this is where I've mentioned this rule before, excuse my language. If it's not a fuck yes, it's a no. So if there's you might be offered 20 treats over the course of the day. You know, probability-wise, your willpower is going to decrease over the day. / your sickness might increase, so it might balance out. But being able to say no to particular treats so that you can enjoy other treats more is actually quite empowering, and understanding that you will enjoy it more if you say no to certain treats, because the ones you say yes to, you are choosing that. And there are so many studies that show that if you choose what you're eating, you enjoy it so much more. It seems ridiculous. Like, even if you're offered something and you say yes, that's still technically a choice to say yes. But the ones that you've said no to, you are specifically saying no to because you know you're going to enjoy a different treat more later. So instead of eating everything in sight, spread out the enjoyment, say no to certain things, say yes to the ones that you definitely want. So remember, if it's not, I'll just say hell yes. If you're thinking, I could eat that, actually, yeah, go on. No, you don't want it. And you might think after those are the treats that you'll regret eating. Whereas the ones that you really, really enjoy, that your favourite treats at Christmas, they're the ones you're going to enjoy. They're the ones you're not going to regret eating because they're your favourite ones. Whereas it's the ones that you like, you could leave it or you could take it. They're the ones you'll end up regretting. And we shouldn't really regret eating or overeating different various treats, but we do. And there's no really avoiding that, because I can tell you to not feel guilty, but it's easier said than done, because we all feel sick after we've eaten excessive amounts. And I'm there with you. I am there with you. Don't you worry. Just going back to the overindulgence. I mean, that's pretty much what we're going to be talking about for the next half an hour. But sometimes an extreme overindulgence at Christmas will help people kickstart their diets in January, because you never want to see a buffet of food again. Like the amount of times we've got leftovers out and it's like 4 days later and it's like, oh my God, Mum, I don't want leftovers again. It makes you eat more on that second day, because the more leftovers you eat on the first day of leftovers, the less days of leftovers you have. So just take one for the team and eat all the leftovers in one go. That's really bad advice. Don't do that. Don't listen to that advice, but that is something I would do, so you don't have to eat leftovers for the next 7 days. That's really sad. I'm not going to experience that this year. Oh, first Christmas away from home. Oh, let's not get into that. That might get quite emotional. Let's move on from that. But so swings and roundabouts, really, because if overindulging at Christmas is going to make you that extra bit motivated in January, that you sign up to Train with Lou or any of my January challenges coming up, guys. Get locked in now. Doors are now open, so make sure you secure your place ASAP. If that's going to kickstart you to join my program in January, go for it. Overindulge all you want, because then you can come to me and I will help you. No, in all seriousness, there are benefits of overindulging at Christmas, because if it kickstarts you in January, whether you join my program or challenge or not, that's fine. Just know that there is a plan that's going to be in place that is going to help you get out of the Christmas mess. We'll all be there. We'll all be there in the same boat, don't you worry. One of my favourite rules at Christmas, it's not really a rule, maybe I shouldn't call it a rule, but the 80-20 rule, again, I've mentioned this before. 80% of the time, eat high protein, high fibre foods that are going to keep you fuller for longer, high nutrition foods, fruits, vegetables, fill up on all of that, and then 20% of the time, eat all the treats and things. At Christmas, I like to switch this slightly, and I'm not going to switch it to 20-80, because that would be ridiculous. 20% veg, 80% cake. No. We could always shift it to 70-30 or 60-40, but making sure you are still hitting, I would say, your protein goal. Aim for a non-negotiable protein goal still, because you still want to be repairing tissue, you still want to be building muscle if you can. If you're still doing your workouts, you still need to repair those muscles, and protein will help you stay fuller for longer. Whereas all the extra carbs and cakes and sugar, they're not actually that filling. They will just spike your glucose levels and blood sugar levels, and it makes you always crave more. So as long as we are hitting our protein, that will help to a certain extent spread out the hunger, spread out the food, and you may as well be building muscle at the same time. If you're overeating and if you're eating in a calorie surplus, I'll talk about this a bit later on as well, but if you're eating in a calorie surplus and training, make sure you're getting enough protein in, because you want to be building muscle with that calorie surplus. You might as well be using that. It doesn't matter where the calorie surplus comes from, as long as you're hitting your protein and you're doing your workouts. Top tips all around. So 80-20 rule, we can switch it a little bit to more like 60-40 or 70-30 over Christmas, but make sure you're sticking to your non-negotiable proteins. And for the sake of Christmas, I do not expect you to eat in a calorie deficit, because that would be almost ridiculous. I don't expect anyone to be eating in a deficit. So I would definitely be eating at maintenance calories, so a very small surplus, maintenance calories or a very small surplus. So if you're in my challenge already, or you're on a program, or you're my one-to-one client, you're probably in like a 300 to 400 calorie deficit. At Christmas time, I want you to eat that 400 calories more. I want you to be eating at maintenance level, because you've got more to play with then. You've got more enjoyment. I don't want you sitting back and like restricting yourself too much, because it is Christmas. Like, the alcohol comes out, the cakes, like everything is there, and I don't want you just saying no to everything, because that is quite miserable. I've done a Christmas like that, and it was in fact miserable. Obviously you're surrounded by family and stuff, but watching them eat nice food isn't that fun. But definitely, if you are still working out, eating that small calorie surplus, if not a large one, and use the calorie surplus to build muscle. Use it. You might as well. Okay. Are we on like point 7 yet? I don't know. Tip number 7, we'll go with 7. Choose familiar food options. So if you are calorie counting, which is absolutely fine if you want to continue to do that because you are smashing your goals, you don't want to throw away what you've worked hard for this whole year. Choose familiar foods that you know that you've tracked before, and you can almost like relate with them. You know how they sit well with you. You know they're going to keep you fuller for longer. They might have been in a meal plan. At least you've got estimations of the quantities that you know you're eating. So instead of like tracking religiously, if you eat similar foods that you know you would usually, you know you're there or thereabouts with your maintenance calories. So if you're really panicking and you can't track it because maybe you're eating out and the calories aren't on the menu, always just overestimate, and you'll definitely either be in a deficit, if not sitting at maintenance calories. Even if there's like hidden calories in things like oils, and there's lots of goose fat and extra yummy things at Christmas with potentially hidden calories. So I would definitely recommend, if you do want to track calories, always overestimate, because chances are they've thrown a load of oil in there or fat, and it makes it super, super yummy, but you can't see those calories. So always overestimate. When it comes to alcohol, is this tip number 8? Who knows at this point? Choose lighter alcohol options. That is if you enjoy drinks equally. So like gin and tonic, just get a gin and slimline tonic. Save at least 150 calories just from having the slimline version of the drink. Vodka lime sodas, that's hydrating you at the same time as giving you alcohol. So you'll be able to get a lot more of these in for the same amount of calories. Actually, maybe I shouldn't have sold it as that, because that means you're going to get drunker quicker. No, let's reframe that and say you can save calories by having the same amount of drinks. Yes, let's go with save it, like same number of drinks but save the calories, not have more drinks for the same calories. But so for the same amount of calories as like a beer, wine, cocktails, like you're talking 200 calories for a pint, 150 calories, maybe it's more like 200 actually. For a large glass of wine, it's like 220 calories. For a full bottle of wine, you're looking at about 700, 750 calories. Cocktails, depending on the cocktail, you're looking 150 to 250 calories per drink. Like, it is ridiculous, and it all adds up. So when it comes to all the Christmas parties, on actual Christmas Day, maybe you've got Boxing Day coming up as well, you've got Christmas Eve, people go hard on Christmas Eve, then you've got New Year's Eve as well. If you've got a lot of events coming up, you need to think about the amount of calories you're going to be drinking. So where you can save calories with your slimline tonics, all of that, I would if I were you. Like, that is one of the best ways you can save calories with all, and still enjoy yourself at the event, still drink, have a good time, be social, whatever you want to do. Just remember the excess. Like, you could easily drink 3,000 calories, and that's nearly a pound of fat in one night, quite easily. I'm not saying this to scare you or to put you off or to make you go teetotal or to be negative. I just don't want all of your hard work this year being thrown away by 7 nights on the lash where you put on a pound of fat 7 days in a row. That's half a stone. in 7 days. Again, not trying to scare you. I know my tone went a little bit serious there. But don't get me wrong, like I'll be having plenty of Prosecco and wine because they're my favourite things. Prosecco actually is one of the better ones to drink. I'm pretty sure people in keto, which is a no carb diet, can drink Prosecco. So if you want something bubbly, something to enjoy, and a slightly better option, and you don't want spirits like gin or vodka, go for the Prosecco. Yeah, okay, enough for the alcohol talk. Okay, if you want to still use the gym, which I would recommend you still use the gym or you want to still do your workouts, definitely focus on your like if you want to rest, for example, that's absolutely fine. You don't need to be working out over Christmas. I will be because I enjoy doing it. It sets me up for the day. I feel amazing once I've done a workout. Like last Christmas, I went for a 15k run before everyone else in the house was up. Apart from my mum who had put the turkey in at like 4 a.m. or something ridiculous like that. But going out for that run, it will make you feel so much better, especially if you're a family that will literally not leave the house for the whole of Christmas, which is fine. Absolutely fine. I'm pretty sure we don't. I think we go for a tiny evening walk if you want to. But if you want to get out, get up, get your steps in before everyone else in the house is up, I would 100% recommend that, because the minute everyone else is up, it's carnage. Well, I don't know what your Christmas is like, but it's absolute carnage in our household. There used to be like 15 of us running around the same house for about 3 days straight, because we'd have Christmas Eve as our Christmas Eve. Mum works Christmas Day, so we have Christmas Day on Christmas Eve. Then we have this like middle Christmas Day. No, we have technically 2 Boxing Days. So the first Boxing Day is everyone's Christmas Day, and that's where we go down to the local and do karaoke. But it's actually everyone's Christmas Day. But we've already had our Christmas Day, so it's like pound pints down Hook and Parrot. If you're listening and if you're in Brid, get yourself down on Christmas. It's epic. Bit of karaoke, pound a pint, can't go wrong. For everyone else in the world listening, you have no idea what I've just said, but it's fine. You don't need to know. That's we'll leave it for the people in Brid to know that one. Where that was such a tangent. Wow, Louise, where are you going with that? Where the hell was I going with that? Oh yeah, and then we have Boxing Day as well. So if you want to get up, get all your steps in on Christmas Day, get it done before everyone else gets up, because it's carnage in the house. That's where I was going with it. Christ, that was like total mind block right there. But yeah, it's Christmas, so remember, you can enjoy it. It's absolutely fine. But I would definitely recommend still exercising just for the boost. It's so easy to feel like a slumped potato on the couch, and I personally don't like the feeling anymore, but I still do it because it's Christmas, and that's okay. But get up, get out, go for a walk. After each meal, go for a walk. It will stop the continuation of eating and food. So I think when it comes to Christmas, actually, let's just talk about this. When it comes to Christmas, it's so easy just to keep eating because it's all there. But if you put a break, it's easy to stop for longer, if that makes sense. So after each meal, you've had your pudding or whatever, you're satisfied, go out and get some steps in, go for a walk, spread out the eating. And even if you go out for a walk to get a pint from your local, do a bit of a longer walk and then stop at the local on the way back for one, and then walk back in, even though it's not going to be one. But it's Christmas, it's fine. Okay, one of my final points is 10 days. Let's just say Christmas. It's about 10 days. By the time you've had a few Christmas parties, your Christmas Eve, and then that weird in-between phase between Christmas and New Year where no one really knows what day it is, but we all just plod along, still eating leftovers. Are we in the New Year yet? Are we still eating 7,000 calories a day? Who knows? But those 10 days, if you've been working really hard for the whole of the year, those 10 days are not going to throw you backwards. You might take a couple of steps backwards, but just think of how many steps forward you have taken. It's not going to impact it that much. It is likely that you are going to put on weight over Christmas, 100%. If you don't, I think that's strange. Like, not outing you or anything, but just the natural increase of carbs, like, means you're holding more water weight. We eat more saltier foods, we eat more alcohol. It's just all water retention things. So yes, we are going to put on weight in the form of water. We will put on weight in the form of extra food volume. Like, we are literally carrying more food, meaning we are heavier, more liquid. So not just liquid calories, but more liquid throughout the day. Like, yes, we have Prosecco's, more coffees maybe, pints, water, gravy. Is that in the form of liquid? Who knows? Custard, brandy sauce. All of there is more liquid, meaning we actually weigh more, believe it or not. So I did a reel the other week, weighing myself first thing on a morning, then I go for a wee and weigh myself again. Then I drink a big bottle of water, and yes, it shows your weight literally fluctuating within the space of 5 minutes. So we need to remember that just because we've put on weight does not mean we've put on fat. We need to remember the numbers. So 3,500 extra calories is 1 pound of fat. So if your maintenance calories are 2,500 and you're eating 6,000 calories a day, eating and drinking, then yes, you will put on 1 pound of fat from that day. That seems excessive, but I can imagine it's easily done if you add on a lot of wine, a lot of puddings, all that food. Easily done. But that's only 1 pound of fat. So chances are you are heavier due to water retention, due to bigger volume of food. But it is possible that we put on a slight amount of fat. If you're still working out, you'll put on some muscle as well. So those are the things that we need to tackle. And then the more muscle you have on your body, the more glycogen stores you can have. So you're actually storing more energy within the muscle, which means you're also storing more water. So remember, it will go up. The chances are the scale weight will go up, but don't panic too much and think, oh, it's all wasted. I may as well carry on eating excessively for the next 10 days. Oh, I heard such a good quote the other day. It's not, yes, oh my God, it's so good. I'm going to butcher it now though. It's not falling in the water that makes you drown. It's staying submerged. So apply this to fat loss. It's not going over your calories by 100 that's going to ruin your progress. It's going over your calories and then staying over your calories consistently because you think you've ruined your progress. Whereas you hadn't ruined your progress just from one day of overeating. It's thinking that you have and continuing to eat like that. So yeah, maybe you go hardcore on Christmas, but that weird phase between Christmas and New Year, try and reset it. Like, go back to normal. Not necessarily restrict everything, go into a calorie deficit. Just go back to maintenance calories. Because if you stay submerged, that's where you're going to drown. That's where you're going to make it so much harder for yourself starting in January. So the more little tips that you can pick up from now until the new year, the better place and position you'll be in for starting that diet or lifestyle change or habit change in the new year. So pick up those morning walks, pick up your morning workouts, maybe a run. Practice finishing when you're full. Practice saying no to treats that you don't necessarily actually want and just saying yes for the sake of it because it's Christmas. Practice having one alcoholic beverage and then a non-alcoholic beverage, alcoholic, non-alcoholic, and spread it out like that if you want to. Remember, these are all just tips if you want to track or if you want to not put on excessive amounts of weight. If you do, because it's Christmas, that's fine too. I am not saying you can't do that. But anyway, I feel like I've blabbed on quite a while there. I just want to say, remember to enjoy yourself. It is Christmas. Make memories. Be with your family. Enjoy their company. Enjoy that amazing homemade food together. Don't look back and regret not getting involved in particular games, or like maybe it is drinking games and you don't want to get involved, but you like get involved. Don't be scared of the calories. Enjoy yourself. Make amazing memories. And I'm actually getting quite emotional because I'm not going to be there for Christmas now, and I knew this podcast was going to be quite hard to record, but I just want to say, remember to enjoy yourself, and Merry Christmas. Make sure to forward this to one person you think needs to hear this. But yeah, if you enjoyed this episode, guys, please like, please subscribe, please forward it to one person you think this is going to help. And again, thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next week. Merry Christmas!